Oh my God, we've got a controversy in this race. Sanders said something that was deemed unacceptable by the establishment media. He called Hillary Clinton unqualified. Will we ever recover? What a breach of etiquette. Now, I'm going to show you what he said, and I'm going to give you the full context. But before we do that, I want to show you what she said before Bernie said anything. Okay? Now, you remember this line when she was confronted with a Greenpeace activist. Now, when she says, I am so sick of the Sanders campaign lying about me, were there huge headlines? Oh my God, breach of etiquette! Breach of etiquette. How could she say that they're liars? No, you know what? Most of the headlines were like, ooh, Hillary gets tough. All right, now, what Sanders was referring to was something that Hillary Clinton talked about before Sanders gave his speech, because he had heard that she went on Morning Joe and said the things we're about to show you. Now, she got asked whether Bernie Sanders is qualified. Let's see if we can get an answer.
You believe this morning that Bernie Sanders is qualified and ready to be president of the United States?
Well, I think the interview raised a lot of really serious questions. And I look at it this way. The core of his campaign has been break up the banks. And it didn't seem in reading his answers that he understood exactly how that would work under Dodd-Frank, exactly who would be responsible, what the criteria were. And, you know, that means you can't really help people if you don't know how to do what you are campaigning on saying you want to do.
So if you weren't running today and you looked at Bernie Sanders, would you say this guy is ready to be president of the United States?
Well, I think he hadn't done his homework, and he'd been talking for more than a year about doing things that he obviously hadn't really studied or understood. And that does raise a lot of questions. And really what it goes to is for voters to ask themselves, can he deliver what he's talking about? Can he really help people?
What do you think?
Can he help our economy? Can he keep our country strong? Well, obviously, I think I'm by far the better choice.
But do you think he is qualified, and do you think he is able to deliver on the things he is promising to all of these Democratic voters?
Well, let me put it this way, Joe. I think that what he has been saying about the core issue in his whole campaign doesn't seem to be rooted in an understanding of either the law or the practical ways you get something done.
So first, let me address the substance of this. She keeps referring to the Daily News article as if Bernie Sanders didn't know what he was talking about. As I've explained to you before, Bernie Sanders said you would break up the big banks by using Dodd-Frank and the Treasury Department. That is, by the way, identical to Hillary Clinton's answer. Later, the Daily News said, oh, you mean use the Federal Reserve? He said, no, I didn't say Federal Reserve. They said, oh, so you don't know how they would use the Federal Reserve to break up the banks. People are like, he's totally confused. He was never confused. He never said Federal Reserve. The Daily News said that in an effort to trick him and to lay a trap for him. But he didn't fall for the trap. He had the correct answer. Okay. But to the point of this story, Hillary Clinton here is saying, doesn't seem like he knows what he's talking about. I mean, I wouldn't have that guy as president, right? She didn't technically use the word unqualified, but she had 3 opportunities to say, now look, of course he's qualified. He's served for 40 years and he's a solid progressive, but I don't agree with him on X, Y, Z. I think I'd be the better president. She said that at one point, I'd be the better president. Nothing wrong with saying that. In fact, by the way, there's nothing wrong with the whole interview. She's running against him. Of course she's going to say she's better and that you shouldn't elect him. And so I'm not bothered by that. But I want some sort of balance and reason in the rest of the media when Bernie Sanders says what I'm about to show you in response to what Hillary Clinton just said. Okay, if you want to say, hey, both sides are doing it, that's fine. But no, Hillary Clinton, all the things she said, oh, they lie, no, you know, he's not ready for the job, etc. That's fine. A-OK, way to be tough, Hillary. Go get him. Now, when Bernie says this is apparently outrageous. Let's watch.
I don't think you are qualified if you have voted for the disastrous war in Iraq. I don't think you are qualified if you have supported virtually every disastrous trade agreement which has cost us millions of decent paying jobs. I don't think you are qualified if you supported the Panama Free Trade Agreement.
Now, he said there that she thinks I'm not qualified. We didn't show you that part. That was the prelude to the part that we showed you. Well, I don't think you're qualified if you do X, Y, and Z. Oh, outrageous! He just said something slightly mean about the person he's running against. And then he laid out substantive reasons why he thinks she wouldn't be the right candidate. Wow. What a controversy. You really got him. I mean, guys, look at this. Look at how the media covers this. So you think that they're neutral, that they're objective? No, anytime Sanders does anything outrageous, hideous, awful, etc., Hillary does it tough, strong, way to go. There you go. Go get him, champ. Right? So in this case, should he have called her unqualified? Well, look, if you ask me, of course they're both qualified. On the other side, you've got clowns running who just stepped out of the circus. I mean, you want to talk unqualified? I'm not sure I've ever seen a better description for a candidate than calling Donald Trump unqualified. So yes, there are actually unqualified people. Hillary Clinton, is she qualified? Of course she's qualified, whatever that means, right? Bernie Sanders, of course he's qualified. The question, who's the better candidate? Now, who am I going to vote for? Well, if I'm in a primary and one side takes $15 million from Wall Street and also votes their way, and also is in favor of the Panama trade deal that was specifically designed for the rich and powerful in this country to hide their money in offshore tax havens. Another guy fought against that. He fought against the Iraq War. He fought against Wall Street deregulation. It's kind of a no-brainer if you're a progressive. And if you lay out that case, well, they don't like it because it gets under the skin of the establishment. Why? The establishment agreed with Hillary Clinton on Iraq, on Wall Street deregulation, and the Panama Free Trade Deal. All those same medias loved all three of those things. So the fact that Bernie was right about that, it drives them crazy. So now Hillary's campaign attacks back with a series of what I view to be hilarious tweets. Brian Fallon says Hillary Clinton did not say Bernie Sanders was not qualified, but he has now absurdly said it about her. This is a new low. Man, maybe I should run one day. Because this is, if you ask me, Bernie Sanders is still playing patty cakes. I mean, I would be 1,000 times tougher. Look, she took the money from Wall Street and then voted with them on the bankruptcy bill that if you have the misfortune, for example, because of your health insurance issues, you don't have health insurance, you have a condition and you become bankrupt, well, they're going to crush your soul and suck every penny out of you. And you know who helped them do it? Hillary Clinton. You see, now that would be a real campaign where you bring out the truth and lay out the consequences of taking these legalized bribes. And so now she's helped all the rich hide their money in Panama. Now, Bernie doesn't come anywhere close to saying that, but it is true. She helped them hide their money so it couldn't be taxed. Why do you think the rich are supporting her? Why do you think they keep giving her donations? Because it's a wonderful return on investment. You think Bernie Sanders is at a new low? He isn't hitting her nearly as hard as he needs to be. All right. Fallon continues, facing long odds, Sanders is inventing grievances and non-existent paths to the nomination to rile his supporters and keep fundraising spigot on. How's that for ironic? Wait, let me get this right. Bernie Sanders is inventing grievances. The fact that she took all that money from Wall Street is invention? No, that's a fact. The fact that she supported Wall Street on all those issues? That's a fact, right? Oh, inventing grievances. And trying to do this because of fundraising. You guys are doing fundraisers right now with lobbyists for pharmaceutical industry, the banking industry, energy industry, and yes, a recent former lobbyist for the gun manufacturers, okay? But in the midst of all that, Bernie Sanders just trying to fundraise $27 at a time. Outrageous. Should be doing it by the millions. Idiot. Okay, last one from Fallon is my favorite. He says, Bernie Sanders, take back your words about Hillary Clinton. Okay, Mr. Third Grader. Okay, take back those words. I am incensed. Okay, thank you for your outrage. Now, but wait. Let's be fair. Hillary Clinton was in a similar situation as Bernie Sanders back in 2008. She was trailing Barack Obama. And I am sure that in the midst of that tough campaign, she never questioned whether Barack Obama was qualified for president, right? Oh, well, let's see.
I have a lifetime of experience that I will bring to the White House. I know Senator McCain has a lifetime of experience that he will bring to the White House. And Senator Obama has a speech he gave in 2002. In this election, we need a nominee who can pass the commander-in-chief test. Someone ready on day one to defend our country and keep our families safe.
The question is, what have you done over the course of a lifetime to equip you for that moment? Now, I think you'll be able to imagine many things Senator McCain will be able to say. He's never been the president, but he will put forth his lifetime of experience. I will put forth my lifetime of experience. Senator Obama will put forth a speech he made.
Oh, so Senator Obama just put forth a speech, that's all. We have a lifetime experience, but that young kid, and I'm be kind here, okay, in her description of him, he doesn't have enough experience. It sounds like you called Barack Obama unqualified. And now from a person who, by the way, hid behind Barack Obama in nearly every debate. I take Wall Street money, but so did Barack Obama. So did Barack Obama. Yeah, I know. You criticized him for that at the time. So it seems like you don't mind calling people unqualified. But now when Bernie Sanders does it to you, all of a sudden, shocked and chagrined. And if you don't remember maybe the most famous ad of 2008 during that primary, I want to show it to you because it gives you a sense of how much Hillary Clinton centered her campaign against Barack Obama on the idea that he was unqualified. Watch.
It's 3 a.m. and your children are safe and asleep. But there's a phone in the White House and it's ringing. Something's happening in the world. Your vote will decide who answers that call. Whether it's someone who already knows the world's leaders, knows the military, someone tested and ready to lead in a dangerous world. It's 3 a.m. and your children are safe and asleep. Who do you want answering the phone?
I'm Hillary Clinton, and I approve this message.
Yes, you did. So back then, at 3 a.m., Obama unqualified, won't be able to protect your family. Your kids are in danger if Obama gets elected. Was that a new low? What's good for the goose is apparently not good for the gander. Yeah. Okay, here's the reality on this, okay? It doesn't matter that Sanders or Hillary Clinton says or implies that either side is unqualified. I got news for you. They're running against each other. They're supposed to say that. So all this controversy, as usual, is much ado about nothing.